Welcome back, everyone. Just doing a small mechanical update. You may have seen, or I'm not sure if I put the video up, about printing these couplers. They're just PLA. They might actually be too strong in the middle. I might have to revisit them and make them a little bit flexible. They're just held in with some M3 machine screws, and I haven't even put the capturing nut on the back side. There's actually enough friction right now that it's plenty tight for this mock-up. What I did make was a motor mount here, and somehow I lucked out, got the tolerance perfect so that this motor will almost stay in just under its own friction. And that part here, I'm just going to come up here, is, you can see that's the solid shape, but here you can see the base is pretty much just a flat piece that I brought up some sides on. Based on an earlier part that I made, this is the dimensions of a NEMA 17 stepper motor face on all sides, and then I just used that and stretched out some extra sides on that, so that essentially the middle part of this is exactly the same dimension as that face, and it just worked out to grab my motors perfectly. So I'm not going to spend too long on that, because that's the actual part there, and it seems that it will hold the motor just fine. The wall thickness is 2 millimeters at 20%, and it's plenty strong. That's Flash Forge Dreamer Blue PLA. I'm going to have to do some tests with it, but as you can see, I just put in 3 M3 mounting holes as well on the base. The original cage that I did for the sizing was this, and it's exactly the dimensions of the NEMA size NEMA 17 stepper motors that I have there. And this I had bolted onto the face of that motor before. Realized it wasn't going to work for allowing me to tighten the bolts and whatnot, and so I just redid it with this. It's really solid, so I'm hoping that it'll be plenty fine for driving the Z-axis. And of course, there's going to be 2 of these, so I got to print another one of these. And on my little Fabricator Mini, these take about an hour and a half to print, so I'll be doing that at a different time. Something else, I know we showed this before, but I'm not sure I showed this part. If you notice, there's some vertical lines in the hole on that side, and that side dog decides to have a little visit here. There's some vertical lines. Focus, you silly little camera. And those were done to help the threaded rod. The threaded rod sometimes would back out. Once I put those vertical lines, or parallel to the axis lines in there, there's a bit more of a crush or a deformation into the threads on the threaded shaft side, and it stopped that altogether. It makes it nice and makes a good clamp here. Now I'm hoping to get a part that fits directly on this coupling nut up here, and that will give me a plate that I can mount what will be the I guess it'll be the X carriage. It'll be one of these threaded rods on either side, and then a smooth shaft behind, and then this will move the X-axis up and down. So I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to do that, because there's still a possibility that I'm going to use my L-channel aluminum extrusion L-channel kit to make the X instead of using smooth rod, just for, you know, a chance. Just give it a shot. I do have some smooth rod 6mm and 8mm salvaged from printers, but I think it'd be neat to try and do it with the L-channel. Now the other thing I have, let's hope this will focus here for us. Don't know I can hold it still enough for us. Let's see if we can get it to focus. I might not be able to hold it still enough though. Are these V-groove bearings, and they have an M3 gap, where their center is made for an M3 screw, which I have passing through there, and then just on a little M3 standoff. And this, I've already checked, runs perfectly fine on the aluminum extrusion peak and on the edges of things, and it's an actual ball bearing. And these ones came pre-greased. Again, I think I got 20 of them for like $2 from China, so we will we'll have a look at that later. But just a small update. Oh, another thing, I'm not sure if I showed. I extended the permanently fixed motor wires that were on the motors. I extended them, and then they were also wired with the coils in a pattern that didn't match a ramps board. So I just repinned this header down here to be the coil pattern that matches a ramps board to make it easier. Then I put the wires together, and I didn't have very good wires when I first did this for this motor. I just had some generic black, I think they were just some general purpose speaker cord. Let's see if we'll get it to focus here. It might focus here in a second for us. Maybe not. Oh yeah. And then I didn't like the look at how they were going all over the place, and I had some of this nylon, I don't know what this stuff was. It was at the dollar store for $1 for 10 meters, and it's like a herringbone tube of nylon mesh, and if you stretch it, it pulls right down on your cord. So I mean, $1 for 10 meters, that was pretty good. It gets quite wide if you wanted to, so I'm gonna have to look into other uses for that, because I was buying some wire sheathing before that was like 20 times that price. And it's pretty much the same stuff, just this stuff comes in all kinds of funny little pastel colors. The stuff I was buying from the hardware store was just white, like nylon looking. But anyhow, I will get this hooked up to my test stepper driver upstairs later today, I think, and just double check it's working and there's not too much weird run out or anything with this. Like I said, I might have to make a new version of this with the center point with a bit of a relaxing spring, which is why this little fella here might be needed, because if this has flex in it, then you're going to get some error in the height. But if you use a coupler that's pushing against the bushing like this, then there should be no vertical errors when this turns, or no vertical backlash if there's any flex. But right now these are zero flex, so we'll see how that goes, and I'll get back to you on that. And again, if you have any questions or comments or whatnot, feel free to put them below. I know this video was a bit of a ramble, but just got a few things going on with the actual the car today, and actually this month is kind of slowed some of my video work, and actually some of this work. So as I fix a few things, such as a center bearing on a drive shaft, seriously bigger shaft than this, and a few other things there. So it has slowed down the time that I've had to work on this kind of stuff. Anyhow, as always, thanks for watching.